You've been listening to Pop Conscious with Milena Dunn and Stacey Macris Ross. Get connected on Facebook and Twitter, or visit our blog at popconscious.com, or email us at info@popconscious.com.
Hello and welcome back. Oh, sorry. Stacey looked confused so I just went in. We are Pop Conscious. My name's Milena, and I'm here not only with my friend Stacey, but our guest, Tara Hernandez,
Hello.
who is writer and co-producer for The Big Bang Theory. So, and her mom, let's not forget. During the break, we were getting some good Southwest region Unity gossip taken care of.
We were.
It was just all the connections. So we'll give a little shout out to
Richard Rogers and Ken Harrison and
Mark Fisk,
Jackie Hardesty. Wow. It's like a magic mirror moment right now.
And since we're doing that, I have to say, I think Mike Sobek was the one who put us all in contact. So
yes,
special little shout out to Mike Sobek.
He posted on the YOU alumni Facebook page when Betsy Ginty said, are there any famous YOUers that you know of? And Mike Sobek mentioned you. So yes. I just went through that whole chain of conversation and contacted everybody I could. And you're the only one who's answered so far. But
look at that.
Maybe.
No, that's not true. Well, kind of. Well, we got Lucky Yates from Archer. But although that was a direct contact. That wasn't through that.
That was Stacey's prom date. Prom date. Right? So he's
got all sorts of connections.
Dr. Krieger on Archer. The air conditioning on stuff. Sorry.
Let's have him on.
So back to Tara, though. So Tara, again, is a writer on Big Bang Theory. So for those listeners who have not watched the show, but you've actually been on since 2007, which I know, I can't believe that because I feel like that show's only like 2 years old, but that's just my life. So
it aired in Sri Lanka in like 2010. So to me, it is just barely, I saw it for the 2 years I was still there.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're raising kids and working. Like a show that you think came on last year really came on like 8 years ago. So time warp, exactly. So tell us a little synopsis of the show and some of the characters and which ones maybe relate to you the most or that you see yourself in the most.
Yes. So the basic premise of the show is these scientists, physicists to be exact, roommates living in their own world of academia and nerd culture, kind of have their little world shaken when Penny, a cute, bubbly actress from Nebraska, moves in across the hall. And that was the pilot episode 8 years ago. And since then, we've met their friends who are also scientists. They've had girlfriends. Some have gotten married. Leonard and Penny at the end of last season got engaged. And they didn't get engaged. That was 2 years ago. Look at that. I've got the time.
It's that time warp. Yeah.
They got engaged a year ago. They're driving off to Las Vegas to get married, where we last saw them. And so all these relationships have formed. And that's kind of I think the premise of the show. Mm-hmm. And so if I had to pick a character, I think I really love Koothrappali. Raj, who we mentioned earlier, is from India. What attracts me to Raj is like his just deep love of his friends and his love and until recently he just got a girlfriend, but his kind of desperate, desire to be loved, in a romantic way, not just from his friends. And I just love that about him. I think he's got a great heart. He's really funny. He's really misunderstood because he's foreign. And he's a pet owner, so I like that about him too. So I think he has a little dog named Cinnamon. So I think, I really like Koothrappali a lot.
I took a quiz and I posted it to our Facebook page, and I got Penny, which I don't know.
I wouldn't put that together with you.
Well, I think it's the way I answer the questions if I chose differently, because there are a couple questions on the quiz I could have gone either way with.
Right.
But, I thought I was going to get Howard's now wife.
Bernadette?
What's her name? Bernadette. Yes. I thought I was going to get her. But one of the things I like about The Big Bang Theory is there is actual science talk going on. You can kind of learn things. And there have been famous scientists who've been on. I noticed also on the Wikipedia, for anybody who wants to play along at home, Bill Nye the Science Guy, DeGrasse Tyson, what's his first name?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That's right.
Stephen Hawking.
Right.
Been on.
And a lot of like scientists I'd never heard of because I don't really study physics in my spare time.
And sometimes we don't advertise it. Sometimes we will put a famous scientist just in the cafeteria at Caltech just to kind of have, an Easter egg for anybody who's looking for it or who knows that world. So the show really, it's really important to the creators and all of us as writers to keep the science at the heart of the show, to keep it really accurate. We have a science consultant, a PhD from UCLA named David Salzberg. And so all of our science is as accurate, at least. I mean, he's the smartest person I know. So if he says it's right, it's right. And
so is he in the writing room with you then? While you're writing
not. No, he's not. I mean, he's a full-time scientist. So he's either teaching, or I think recently he was in like Antarctica, like studying something that I wouldn't understand.
I was expecting you to say in the lab if he's not teaching, but he was in Antarctica. That went a whole other direction than what I was expecting.
Yeah, he's either there, he's at CERN, with the Large Hadron Collider. Words I only know now since working on the show. I didn't know any of this before.
I learned about CERN from a Dan Brown novel.
Yes.
It wasn't Da Vinci. It was Angels and Demons. Yeah,
sure.
That one. So CERN is in Switzerland. It's where they're studying the Big Bang, really, isn't it?
Yeah, as far as I understand it, they just run particles in a circle and watch them crash into each other.
Yes, and use that as a microcosm of the macrocosmic universe.
Yes.
Because there was that big finding recently, right, about the Big Bang, and there was some brand new, and to me, it really meant nothing, but like you're saying, like they watched it and it banged a different way or something.
Right.
And they were all very excited about it, but I, for the life of me, couldn't understand.
I love the way you described that. It banged a different way.
I mean, they were very excited about it. Yeah.
It was still big, I think. We all can agree that it was still a big bang. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because with the science on the show, we bring in all these theories, and obviously, Sheldon being a theoretical physicist, his job is just to make these big ideas about the universe. The universe is flat, the universe is square, the universe is shaped like a toothpick. I don't know. And, I always come at it like, well, why does it matter? Is it going to change my day to day? I don't think so. And we were talking about faith and if these characters have faith earlier. And I think, they do. They have a faith in something bigger than themselves. Maybe they don't practice a religion, but understanding human beings and the earth and where we all came from. I mean, I think that's just as important. That's their example of how they're faithful on the show.
Well, and I've learned about myself that I learn pretty much everything through pop culture, and that's how it sticks with me.
That's true.
So I went to see Eddie Izzard at the Hollywood Bowl, and he was talking about British history. And I was putting it together like, okay, the king he's talking about now was before the Bonnie Prince Charlie that I learned about from Outlander, but after the people that they talk about in the Jane Austen. And I was putting it together all in, how I can personally connect with the characters of history. Or on Happy Days, Potsy learned the anatomy of the body by singing, what Stacey's cracking up because she knows this is true.
It really is.
It is. So I like it in little tasty tidbits of knowledge. And I saw a YouTube video recently that said that our Milky Way galaxy isn't just rotating and orbiting in a flat circle. It's a spiraling movement through space. That spiral is actually the base shape of the universe. If you look at the nautilus and if you look at how flowers unfold and grow, that it's not just circular, it's spiraling, it's a motion. And I thought, wow, that kind of blew my mind. And so there is something about knowing kind of how the universe works. And for me, making connections to spiritual teachings from a bazillion years ago that said that long before the scientists got there. Right. I love how it all connects. So that's why I love the Dan Brown books. And I don't need it to be absolutely true and to stay true forever. Right. It's an idea. It's a theory. We work with it. We play with it. Our imaginations come in. We get inspired. And we learn more. And we can do, as Sheldon said, to stare at the face of God at some point, at least little glimpses.
Well, and I love that this show is also, we talked on an earlier show, and I don't remember which one. So just go back and listen to them all. But we talked about, women and girls in science and getting science out there in the media and making it more fun and attractive. But I think this is one show that does that. Would you say that, Tara? I mean, it talks about science, but it kind of gets it in when you think you're just watching a TV show and having a good time.
Right, absolutely. We added Bernadette and Amy, who are two remarkable scientists on the show. And I think, it not only gave us writers a chance to generate stories and new relationships and things, but also for viewers to see female scientists depicted on television who love science but also have other interests also, or girlfriends of Penny and have a wine night and go drinking. And so just that there's, science is their career. They are well-rounded women and have a lot of interest, I think is really important for women to see, not just the guys doing it.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead. You go.
Oh, I was going to say, well, I think those characters on the show are a lot like us, Malena, because they talk about things that we've talked about. So they talk about Star Trek, which we did a whole show on, and Star Wars, which we did a whole show on, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all these wonderful science fiction-y, I guess science fiction, right? All science fiction type stories. So I think they would be our friends, is what I guess I'm saying.
We should move into that building.
We need to move into that building because friendship is the only light you need. That's what we learned.
Right. We learned that when we were visiting our friends who were
UCLA.
Yeah, living at UCLA.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Friendship is the only light you
because
need.
the light went out and we were in the hallway looking for flashlights or a candle, and the neighbor came out and said that, and we were just so touched. We both went, "Aww."
See, if you guys were the characters, you would have lightsabers go off. And
we'd have
so friendship and lightsabers are the only.
That's right. Hey, I had not thought of that before. I have two boys, and we've got a lot of lightsabers still to this day, even though they're like 11 and 15 now. So I never thought about that. If my power goes off, grab a lightsaber.
Yes,
excellent advice.
Place them around the house.
Man,
See?
Awesome.
Yeah,
earthquake preparedness now too.
Yeah.
You get it all here on this show.
Exactly.
We are here to inform and enlighten.
Yes.
So I think where we differ, though, Stacey, from the characters on The Big Bang Theory is we're fans, but we're not super fans. Like, we're not fanboys and girls.
Right.
I have not been to Comic-Con. I want to go.
I was going to say my family's talking about it.
See, maybe I'll go with your family and I'll be surrounded by them and they'll move through the crowds. I don't like crowds, even though I would think I would like the people in this crowd.
Yeah.
I get overwhelmed by crowds and I'm essentially lazy. So I have to drive to San Diego and find a place to stay and do a thing. Plus, I was telling Tara before the show, I was kind of spoiled early on because my college internship was at a radio station in Southern California, KROQ, and we got backstage passes and we got into things through, the back way, and we could meet the people that we admired. So I'm kind of spoiled by that, and by working at Warner Brothers and Carsey Werner, I have different access. Now I don't really, and I wish I did. So I'm going to wait for that access to happen, and then maybe I'll go to Comic-Con or a smaller con.
Smaller,
maybe.
more manageable.
Yeah.
There's so many. I mean, there really are. There are a lot to choose from. I love conventions. I really do.
I love the idea.
Gone? Oh, I was going to ask, so have you gone to a convention for
Yes,
Big Bang Theory or another? Or?
Yeah, so I've gone as just a fan, and I've gone as, that was actually so embarrassing. It was very early on in one of my Warner Brothers internships. I got to go down there just because we had access to a badge. And I went down there and I remember seeing the panel for Iron Man, and it was Jon Favreau And it was the first Iron Man. It was kind of before this huge Marvel wave, and it was in Hall H, which is their biggest, hall there. And I was just so like taken with the whole idea of all these fans in one place and seeing this panel. And I said to my friend, I really want to be on a panel. Like, I think that's a life goal for me, is to like do something that gets onto a Comic-Con panel. And I was able to achieve that life goal last year.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Nice.
Yeah. So, I've been to Comic-Con, was able to be on a panel as a writer for this show. And then I just love going to conventions because I love seeing people who are just so passionate about this thing, kind of like the many paths idea to one, like they're all in one place. I've gone to gaming conventions. I've gone to WonderCon, which is a smaller version of Comic-Con that happens in Anaheim every year. It's more manageable. So if you can make it to that and dip your toe in, you might want to start there. But yeah, I just love it. I love seeing people dressed up or just excited about one thing. Like, it's an electric energy, and I really, really dig it.
Well, that's why I like the idea of them, because it's kind of like what the experience that we got in YOU, where we're in a room where we know we're accepted for who we are, that we could be ourselves, that we can celebrate the things that we all love together. And that's what I love about pop culture and about the idea of conventions, even though I haven't gone to one yet. But you mentioned gaming, and also this weekend, I went to visit some friends who have just opened a tea shop where you can game. And a lot of the games they have were donated by Will Wheaton because he had two of everything.
Where is this? I want to go now.
It's in Burbank. Let's go tonight for the game night.
Yes.
It's called Geeky Teas, and because they serve tea, but they also have T-shirts, but it's spelled TEAS. And they are the location. Their online store is Clockwork Couture, which is all steampunk, which is how I found them, because I was ghostwriting for a costume company online and was trying to figure out what would I want to dress up as if I went to a convention, but I was in Sri Lanka, so I had no access. But I found that this place was in Burbank, and I thought, when I go home, I have to go there. So I've been, even before I moved back, I was visiting Clockwork Couture, which is now Geeky Teas. So we'll have to hit it up, because it's in Burbank.
I love that.
Yeah. So Will Wheaton has been on the show a number of times, right?
Yes, he has. And he's big into gaming. I know he has his tabletop games, which he brings in his fun celebrity friends, and they play board games. And so,
Is that a TV show itself, or is it like online? Or?
I believe it's an online show.
Okay.
I'm getting outed as not having seen it, but I know it exists.
I heard about it. Right. Yeah. We'll have to cyberstalk him and just figure it out.
Beware.
That's right. You are put on notice.
Yeah. We have a lot of great guests on the show. It's expanded into a big world of characters, and a lot of fun people stop by.
Like the parents. I love when the moms drop in, and I see a Roseanne connection there, because Laurie Metcalf plays Sheldon's mother, right? Yes. And she's from the South and loves to talk about Jesus. And but she gives the common sense too. Right. She is able to get through to Sheldon when he's gone out into the outer limits. And I'm looking at the cast list from the Internet Movie Database. Sarah Gilbert from Roseanne has also been on. But Christine Baranski played Leonard's mom.
Yes. So she films The Good Wife in New York.
Oh.
So since I had been on the show, we'd only been able to utilize her with Skype conversations.
Interesting.
So much like we're doing here today, we'd actually film her, on Skype from New York. And then recently, there was a hole in her schedule, and we were able to bring her in person. So it was actually my first time kind of seeing her in person. And I'm always blown away by the guest cast. Everyone's so professional, but she's a Broadway star, so she's
sparkles. So before we go to break, I wanted to mention that today's show is sponsored by Dream Builder coach Tracy Williams, who will also be our guest next week. So join us to learn how to start building the life of your dreams, or you can go online now and learn more about Tracy at www.tracywilliams.lifemasteryinstitute.com. And we'll be back after these messages. We're Pop Conscious.